Example number 4, evaluate the limit of sine cube x over sine x minus tangent x as x approaches 0. So the solution for this kind of equation is by factoring the numerator sine cube x and using the trigonometric identity of tangent x. So tangent x, this is the identity of tangent x, is equal to sine x over cosine x. So apply and substitute these values in the given equation. So the limit of sine cube x over sine x minus tangent x as x approaches 0 is equal to factoring out sine cube x, limit of sine x times sine squared x divided by sine x minus the identity of tangent x, which is sine x over cosine x, as x approaches 0. So further simplification of this equation, we have the limit of sine x times sine squared x divided by factor out sine x on the denominator side, sine x times 1 minus 1 over cosine x. So if you have to check your factoring, you just simply distribute sine x in this equation. Sine x times 1 is equal to sine x. Sine x times 1 over cosine x is equal to sine over cosine x. So further simplify this equation, cancel out sine x and sine x. So we have the limit of sine squared x divided by 1 minus 1 over cosine x as x approaches 0. So using the Pythagorean identity of sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine squared x, again apply and substitute this in the given equation. So the Pythagorean identity of sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cosine squared x. So apply this identity in this equation. So we have the limit of sine squared x, apply the identity, 1 minus cosine squared x divided by 1 minus 1 over cosine x as x approaches 0. So simplifying the denominator side, so this is equal to the limit of 1 minus cosine squared x divided by denominator LCD cosine x. So this is equal to cosine x divided by 1 is cosine x times 1 is cosine x. Minus cosine x divided by cosine x is 1 times 1 is 1 as x approaches 0. Then simplify the equation, so this is equal to the limit of 1 minus cosine squared x times cosine x divided by cosine x minus 1 as x approaches 0. Simplifying it further, we have the limit of factor out 1 minus cosine x times 1 plus cosine x divided by cosine x minus 1. Simplify. So this is equal to the limit of 1 minus cosine x 1 plus cosine x times cosine x divided by, factor out negative 1, so negative 1 minus cosine x. So cancel out 1 minus cosine x and 1 minus cosine x as x approaches 0. So we have the limit of one plus cosine x times cosine x divided by negative 1 as x approaches 0. Then distribute the cosine x on the numerator. The limit of cosine x plus cosine squared x divided by negative 1 as x approaches 0. So you can now substitute values of x is equal to 0 on our equation. So cosine 0 plus cosine squared 0. So cosine 0 is equal to 1 plus cosine squared 0 is equal to 1. So we have 1 plus 1, 2 divided by negative 1. So this is equal to negative 2. So the limit of sine cube x over sine x minus tangent x as x approaches 0 is equal to negative 2. Answer.